then making millions off YouTube.
A spider!
Meet the family that figured out a way to turn child's play into big bucks.
You ready to feel a little jealous?
Yeah.
What if we told you you could make a bunch of cash just by letting your kids play with their toys? One family out in Los Angeles has done just that, and today Chanel Jones is here with that story. Chanel, good morning.
Good morning. It's true. Apparently all you need is a video camera, some very active kids, and a YouTube account. For one Southern California family known online as I Love Maything, playdates have turned into payday. Meet Mark, Rhea, Hulyan, Maya, and baby Marcelin, stars of one of YouTube's most popular shows. Their videos showing their kids simply playing with toys are among the most viewed in the country, averaging millions of hits a day and bringing in more than $1 million last year.
It just grew, and it continues to grow.
Their videos becoming so popular, Mark and Rhea actually quit their jobs to focus on making videos full-time, a decision they say was about more than just money.
We spend time with our kids. I do not go to the office. I do not go somewhere else to work.
It's a family bonding, so the most important, I think.
Since making it big online, they've been able to pay off their mortgage, their cars, and fully fund college for their kids. They also give back by donating most of the toys they use.
We always tell them we don't need like hundreds of toys.
Yeah, we teach them to share.
They're on track to gross $1.5 million this year alone. Their channel had more than 26.5 million views just last week, making them irresistible to toy companies who place ads before the videos play online. And while the concept is simple, kids clearly love it. Videos for kids make up 20% of YouTube's most viewed channels, almost 18 billion hits since video content has been tracked.
Also coming up, could your children make big money on YouTube? The mini moguls racking up millions of views every day, making a whole lot of cash. And we'll tell you how they did it.
We will tell them. Can you imagine your little ones bringing in all that big money?
Yes, let's get some little ones.
Yes, you could imagine that.
Get them working.
Yeah, get them working. So that is ahead, but first, the breaking news with Amy.
And the secret to how your kids could make you millions on YouTube, TJ is down with that.
And finally here in the GMA Heat Index, how your children can turn you into an insta-millionaire by using YouTube, turning playtime, well, into paytime. Here's Abby Boudreau with how they pulled this off.
They may look like your average home videos, but 3-year-old Maya and her big brother 5-year-old Hulyan are toy-testing toddler sensations, whose YouTube videos are generating 3 million views a day, with more than 95 million viewers total.
Do you ever get sick of toys?
Whoa! It started in 2011 with a single video about Thomas the Tank Engine. And now they'll try anything, from motorized toy jeeps to train sets. And one of my toddler son's personal favorites, the cupcake Play-Doh demo with more than 1 million views.
I need some more Play-Doh.
We never planned it. It just happened. It was just a hobby.
Now, no longer just a hobby, Mark and Rhea, who both moved here from the Philippines, are making millions in ad revenue from their popular channel. This family's tips to success? Make sure the kids are having fun, which makes it less like work. For Good Morning America, Abby Boudreau, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Not bad. The kids have the bank account. Coming up here on GMA.
A family is making millions off a YouTube channel showcasing their kids simply playing with toys.
Wait, I'm going to take a picture, Maya. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, cheese! Alright, I got it.
The question everyone is asking, why didn't we think of that? Maybe because we didn't know playing with toys would be so entertaining for viewers. But then we got to watching more of the videos on the Hulyan Maya YouTube channel and noticed those are some seriously cute kids. Hulyan Maya basically showcases home videos. The children's mother describes it in this way. You will see a lot of train toy videos on this channel because my son loves it. You will also see some activities that we do, our trips, etc. And it looks like it's working. The channel is a hit with more than 3 million views a day and revenue from the toy ads that play before each clip. NBC reports the parents have quit their jobs to focus on making these videos. They made more than $1 million so far and are expected to make $1.5 million in 2015 alone. Again, why didn't we think of this? But they say money isn't the most important part.
We spend time with our kids. I do not go to the office.
Well, we enjoy, it's a family bonding, so the most important, I think.
Their most popular video thus far features their son opening a Thomas & Friends emergency searchlight set back in 2013. It has nearly 16 million views. And a Tube Filter, an outlet that ranks the 50 most viewed YouTube channels in the United States, listed the family's channel at number 47 back in January. If you're among the millions of people interested in watching kiddos play with toys, check out Hulyan Maya. For Newsy, I'm Rebecca Dunn.
Wir sind 2 Millionäre bei der Arbeit. Maya 4 und Hulyan 6 verdienen spielend leicht ihr Geld. Im wahrsten Sinne des Wortes. Sie packen Spielzeug aus und spielen damit. Und Papa filmt das Ganze fürs Internet. Im vergangenen Jahr haben die beiden so 1 Million Euro gemacht.
Zunächst waren die Videos nur für unsere Familien gedacht, um sie an unserem Leben teilhaben zu lassen. Doch plötzlich merkten wir, wie wir immer mehr Zuschauer bekamen. Am Anfang verdienten wir 1 Penny am Tag, dann 5, dann 10, dann $1 und $5. Es wuchs und wächst immer weiter. Wir bekommen viele Nachrichten. Leute schreiben uns, dass ihre Kinder unsere Videos jeden Tag gucken und sie das Gefühl haben, als gehörten Hulyan und Maya zu ihrer Familie.
Hulyan, was macht ihr mit dem ganzen Spielzeug?
Wir schicken es auf die Philippinen.
Und warum?
Weil die Kinder dort nicht so viel Spielzeug haben.
Und teilst du gerne?
Ja.
Vater Mark wird demnächst 1 Million Cash auf den Tisch legen für ein neues Haus irgendwo in Kalifornien. Geld, das seine Kinder verdient haben.
Es hat sich nicht viel geändert, außer dass wir jetzt enorm viel Geld haben. Wir stehen nicht auf Luxus oder verrückte Autos. Wir wollen ein einfaches Leben und ein schönes Zuhause für die Kinder.
Und das Beste, selbst wenn die beiden mal keine Lust aufs Filmen haben, die Videos, die schon online stehen, verdienen trotzdem mit jedem Klick weiter Geld.
is oh wait.
So what is he?
A video guy.
So why do you have all the toys?
Because we're famous.
And what do you do with all the toys?
Play with them.
They know you from the videos? Do they sometimes say, I know who you are?
They say that they know me. Their parents, their mom, sometimes say they know me.
From where?
From where? I mean,
From YouTube? They know you from YouTube?
Yeah.
And what do you tell them? What do you do with them? Do you take photos?
Yeah.
How is that? You like that?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Where do you give them to you? Do you know where they go?
To the Pyrenees.
Why do they go there?
Because they don't have that much toys.
And is it okay for you to share?
Yeah.
Why? Okay. So Maya, one more time. Tell me, what are your favorite toys?
Megadol.
What else?
Barbie.
And?
Thomas. Yeah. Thomas.
And Maya, why do you think you have so many toys? Where do they come from?
And online. Mommy, put this to my arm.
That is so silly, Hulyan.
I can't see. I can see a little bit.
Such a
Like
silly kid.
Enjoy. Elevator. Whee! Bonk.
Nice, Maya. Cute.
Wait.
And there is Hulyan. There is his face.
Wait. Whoa. What's going on? That's the actor. It's the Superman. Da-da-da-da. It's the actor.
Okay.
The ladder, Maya. Ladder.
What's going on?
Mommy Rhea. Hulyan's dad.